Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we will be going through my YouTube setup. I want to go through what the equipment list is and considerations that you need in order to start a beginner YouTube studio. So with that, let's jump on into today's video. Let's face facts. When we're first starting out, all we might be able to afford is that bedroom sort of glow up. With the amount of gear that we need to literally press record and get our videos out the door. And that's why I've broken down today's video into 7 different pieces, and I'll be walking you through each one individually today. So the first consideration that we need to talk about today is obviously your equipment, because your camera will easily be the most expensive piece of equipment that you need for your studio space. And in my opinion, the quality of YouTube content creation in a studio environment has just gotten so high that a high quality mirrorless camera is 1000% the first purchase that you need to be making. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I have 2 cameras, a Sony a7 IV and a Sony a1, which the Sony a1 I use for all of my commercial work and bigger shoots that I actually get paid for outside of my social media presence. And the Sony a7 IV I treat as my B cam and YouTube camera, because when it comes to social media, it's actually my A cam for 3 reasons. First, and most important, is the flip out screen, because as a YouTuber, you'll be solo filmmaking a ton, and you need to see yourself and what you're doing, because trust me, I've been on the other end of a camera without that flip out screen, and all I can say is good luck. Second is the a7 IV's autofocus and color science. Not only does it lock on with eye auto tracking in pretty rapid movement scenarios, but it's got S-Cinetone built into the color profile, meaning that you need to worry about your color grading a little bit less in the editing room. And then 3 is the viewfinder capabilities. Now, yes, the Sony ZV-E1 is out, but that camera does not have a viewfinder. And in my opinion, I would sooner level up with the Sony a7 IV than the ZV-E1 as a vlogging camera, for the simple reason that if I'm traveling and my A camera and my photo camera doesn't work or breaks or something goes wrong, I can pull out the a7 IV and I know I have a backup pro photo camera that I can use for all of my content creation needs. When you are a beginner YouTuber, you need to take into considerations those 3 things that I just mentioned in your essential camera body. There are only a handful of cameras that I would recommend that can actually do this. The Sony a7 IV being one of them, the Canon R5, Canon R6, and the Nikon Z6 Mark II. Now, my other consideration for YouTube gear is the best lens that you can get for filming YouTube content is a 16 to 35 millimeter f2.8 or its equivalent. This lens is known as a vlogging lens because it provides you with enough space for 16 millimeters that is extremely wide, 35 millimeters, which gives you the most accurate portrayal of what the human eye sees, which comes in handy not only for vlogging, but good for interview setups, and most importantly, photography for when you need it. Now, I've made a short about why this is such a great video lens as well, which I'll link in the description so you can give that a watch. Now, with your camera, you obviously need to put it somewhere in order to film your A-roll content, which for me is sitting at the corner of my desk, and to my right is actually a monitor. This is where I work. My laptop is right over here, and I can just put my tripod down right in front of me. I know the monitor's out of frame, and that's what's important, is making sure there's not this long and lengthy setup process that you might be really demotivated to do before you actually set up your camera. And so here are some tips for choosing your main camera angle for YouTube. You want to keep the camera at eye level or just slightly above, because you need your camera to capture you and your background, which should represent your brand and the topics of your video, ensuring a consistent brand across all of your content. This way, you're always considering your viewer's perspective. And once you find a setup that works, stay consistent so that your content is instantly recognizable. Now, once you've dialed in your camera angle, the natural next step is ensuring you have a good background, because in truth, your background says a ton about you and who your channel is designed for. And so it needs to directly speak to your target audience. So here's some tips. Your background must be consistent with the theme of your channel. If you're running a tech channel, show some of your favorite tech products on it. Be sure to include colors that you feel represent what you're trying to create, because color is a big branding cue, and you need to make sure that the colors you choose to use in your videos can contrast with what you're wearing and the text that you use to make everything stand out individually, but also complement each other. And finally, have your setup evolve. Change it up every so often to find out how to communicate who you are better. But reality is that showing off your background is super important. And you need secondary angles then to really highlight what's the most important components of your video. And for me, I've come to learn that the top down shot is the best shot to be able to do that for most content creators. It just makes things so much easier in my content creation workflow because the way I have it designed makes it, again, seamless, efficient, and with a reduced amount of friction to be able to just get up and film something. So let me take you through what that looks like. Now, the setup that I have for my top down angle is simply just a C-stand neighboring my camera. So it sits above and the arm is actually right above me right now, pointing down at my desk. So when you see the videos, they're coming from this C-stand that's essentially locked in position. The way I have my lights set up is that I have a big softbox off to my left, and then I have another continuous light pointing straight up at the ceiling. And this creates enough ambient exposure on the table down below me to be able to light my product reviews and film things that I need in the moment. But what comes next is audio. And the trick to mastering audio in your studio is understanding if there is an echo in your room and other complications that might happen with where your mic is actually set up. So for high quality talking head videos in your studio space, here are some mics that I can recommend. First is a shotgun mic because it's extremely portable for run and gun filmmaking, has directional sound capture, and is quite honestly perfect for any indoor and outdoor environment. Two are lapel mics because maybe you want to film interviews or are on the go far away from your camera. These give you a little bit more creative freedom. And finally is your table mic. There are a ton of options for these, but inevitably, if you choose the right one, it should give you the highest audio quality possible and will be your go-to for your studio space. My honest recommendation for your studio should be a table mic. If you're on a very tight budget, then I would recommend getting a shotgun mic because inevitably you're going to take your camera into the field, film vlogs, run and gun stuff, and to dual purpose your audio, I would say the shotgun mic you can just rock on the top of your camera. You don't need to have this thing in front of you, and that way you get a bigger bang for your buck than just getting a cheap table mic and a shotgun mic. And so it's really just about finding solutions that work for you and the sound that you want to get at the end of the day. And moving on from the audio setup is your lighting. Now, your studio lighting is obviously very important. And if I'm going to be honest, for a YouTube studio setup that is a beginner level, my lighting is overkill. So don't take my recommendation as a must because I dual purpose my lights for my business that I run. So I have an Aperture 300X off to my left and an Aperture 120D Mark II off to my right. But you can really tone down the quality of lighting that you need for your own studio setup. Here are a few things to consider. First, natural light is the best light for a beginner. If you can, set up your A angle next to a window and have the benefit of natural window light being able to come into your environment and a supporting artificial light if you can't get the power out of them to illuminate the other side of you. If you don't have the availability of a window light, then you need to invest in good lighting. Putting soft boxes on your light is going to emulate the effect of the window light. And if you're looking to have something that you can carry around with you for all of your content creation needs, then getting a ring light is obviously the go-to move. Especially if you're looking to film TikToks, depending on what kind of creator that you want to be, the ring light is going to be your number one light for filming short form content. The other thing that I'm going to say is that you need to experiment with your lighting setups almost religiously. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've shifted and moved these things around just to figure out how to get the look that I want. And the other thing is that if you have windows open, you need to adjust your lights for the natural light that's coming into your space. And that will take us to the final tip, which is if you want to create more in-studio short-form videos, here's how to do it. Ensure that your branding is consistent everywhere that you film. This way, you can just put something on your desk and film it without any need to set up your space in a particular aesthetic way. If there's any piece of advice I can give, you need to make it easy to just press record and get the content that you need. Because second is to make sure that the tech you use for work can also become a part of your brand's aesthetic. Everything in our space needs to contribute to the brand that we're building. Because finally, we need to leave enough room for all of it with our camera angles. Because if you're shooting all of your content at 16 millimeters consistently, your content's gonna look just a little bit stale over time. And so with that, I hope this video was able to show you what you need to consider when you're designing your YouTube studio space. It really comes down to a small list of things that can go a very long way. Inevitably, I think the hard part is just accumulating enough material to actually design your environment on brand, especially because what you come to realize is desks, a camera, lights, and a shelf are the bare minimum to get something interesting. What really steps up a YouTube studio is the things you put on the shelf, maybe the items that you can put on your desk when you're filming shorts content, and of course, the accessories that you use by making your content and sharing that with your audience. These are all the things that make a YouTube space a lot more of a storytelling environment. So with that, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.